Hello, everyone. I'm Frank Stanisci of Candid Frank Live, where you'll find us airing our views here on the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV Channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now in Candid Frank Live, joining me as usual is Aaron William Freeland. Aaron, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. And yourself, Frank?
Not bad, not bad. Just doing a bunch of interviews with local politicians. It's keeping Eduardo and I busy. Yeah. All right. Let's start with the big story. How about you? Before I, how about you?
Doing all right. All things considered. Working through work and getting used to going into the office a couple times a week now. So that's always fun.
You take the GO train, right?
I do, yes. So obviously the whole drama that they're having right now with a lot of their employees not having had contracts since June 1st is a bit of a concern. But Metrolinx and the union have said that they'll advise everybody well in advance should there be strike action.
All right. Let's go to big news and good luck with that. I hope you get to work on time and not too much of a hassle because waiting for trains and stuff can be very frustrating.
Definitely.
Okay, let's start with this big story. I'm going to call it the big story of the day. Wayne Gretzky has some serious business to chew on.
Yeah, there's a lot that I hope it doesn't get stuck in his throat. He's been slapped with a $10 million lawsuit over alleged weight loss gum. It's one of the weirder things I've come across here, but there was a company called OMG Gum that hired his wife, Janet Jones, to act as a spokesperson. And they claim to have created a natural gum used to manage weight. And Wade said, yeah, it's fantastic. I've lost about 35 pounds in 6 to 8 weeks while chewing this gum, which later turned out to not be true.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So as part of the lawsuit, Sparks is asking for $500,000 in attorney fees to be paid by Gretzky with 10% interest.
Nice. Well, he can afford it. He's a rich dude. CFL, Red Blacks, Elks, injury reports. What's going on there?
Well, all the usual fun stuff. Powell's going to be missing some time. Justin Howell is out. RJ Harris did not practice. Devontae Williams is a healthy scratch, as well as Zach Polahos.
Wow.
And Kenny full time.
Okay. I want to apologize to people. My internet's misbehaving, so when I hear silence, I assume Aaron's done. So I'll apologize now in advance if that happens a few times. The Elks signed Mark McLaren.
Yeah, so this is another issue where they're trying to address ongoing concerns here. They actually signed American linebacker Mark McLaren, who played 4 seasons in Mississippi State from 2015 to 2018. They also announced that they've released Ethan McConzo, Hakeem Butler, and Charles Nelson. So a little addition, a little pairing of the roster, trying to get to where they need to be.
Bad news for the Argonauts. Andrew Harris appears to have torn a pectoral muscle. Last reports are David called me from practice. The Argos announced that he's done for the season.
Yeah, apparently they were hoping that it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks, but it turns out he does actually need surgery for that. So hopefully he'll be able to fully recover, and we'll see him next year.
The Lions bring back receiver Jamarius Way.
So this has been interesting. It's been back and forth, but they've re-signed him to the practice roster. He was a standout during their training camp in Kamloops, and he recorded 7 receptions for 87 yards and a touchdown before he got sidelined by an elbow injury. So he's back. It appears the injury's better, but he's still going to be on the practice roster for some reps.
The Stamps add a running back and a linebacker.
So they've added running back a Cedric Ware and Perry Young. I hope I pronounced his name correctly, and I'm sorry in advance. Aka Cedric, there we go, Ware and Perry Young. So Ware spent part of the 2021 season on the practice roster and has been activated from the retired list, while Young re-signed with the Red and White after attending Calgary's training camp back in May.
Lions quarterback Rourke named top performer for the third week in a row.
So, based on the heels of his comeback victory, he's been named there again. This is his third straight week and the fifth time this season. He, along with Brian Burnham and defensive back Wesley Sutton of the Alouettes, have earned second and third performer honors, respectively. And he had almost 500 yards, breaking his own Canadian single-game record in that 41-40 win that we spoke about earlier this week.
This is not CFL news, or is it? Sarah Olesky, as you may know from the Canadian Football League standing on the sidelines, is leaving that job to work full-time with the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, so this was a bit of a surprise to everyone. I don't think we were really expecting that. But she had hosted the Jets on the Three Letter Sports Network broadcast for the past 11 seasons. She's got 20 years of sports broadcasting experience, and she's bringing that now to the Winnipeg Jets. I'm very excited for this. It's a great step up for her.
Yeah, she's a Winnipeg girl, so she's staying home and she's working for the Winnipeg Jets, whom she has had a lot of occasion to work with from the TSN perspective, but now she'll be doing it directly with the Winnipeg Jets. The Pirates, Rodolfo Castro is suspended one game after his phone fell out of his pocket during a game.
Yeah, this made a lot of highlight and blooper reels. He was running the bases last week and slid into third. And as he did, his cell phone popped out of his back pocket. Now, this is a violation of Major League Baseball's electronic device policy. He's going to appeal that suspension, which means that he'll be able, he played yesterday. But the thing is, it's kind of obvious that he violated the league's policy when his cell phone comes flying out of his pocket. So I'm not sure what he's hoping to do with this appeal other than get in that extra game against the Bo Sox, but we'll see what happens.
Miss a game he'd rather miss, I guess. I don't know. The Blue Jays, they're really they're sliding right now.
They are. However, things have been good for them so far, at least in today's game. Springer came across the plate. The Jays have lost 8 of their last 10. They're not playing anywhere where they need to be. I think some of the key factors that we'll be looking at here is George Springer going to continue to be healthy? Because he's had a nagging injury, elbow injury, which appeared sometime in June. The timeline for that is rather unspecific. The other thing that we're looking at is they play the Orioles a lot, and the Orioles seem to have their number. So, it's one of those things. And finally, Jose Barrios needs to snap back into number 3 starter status. Yusei Kikuchi is being sent down. So it's one of those things where he needs to step up and improve his game. Otherwise, it's going to be a rough road for them.
Yeah, they need another starter, but there's players coming back, getting healthy, pitchers, that's what they need. They need some good pitching. They haven't been getting it. Was there a TFC story you wanted to do? Because the story I'm looking at, it talks about Pozuelo scoring twice. He's not with them anymore.
Yeah, I do apologize for that. It's something old that popped across my feed, and I just threw it in there by accident. But no,
okay. So then let's go to hockey and Canada hockey. Canada stays undefeated at World Juniors, 6-3 win over Finland.
So this was one of those trap games that you and I often talk about. They had been 3-0 so far and were looking really great, but it's one of those things where this had the potential to go sideways in an awful hurry. The good news is they did manage to remain perfect so far, and they'll be going up against Switzerland at 7:00 tonight on one of these sports networks.
And it'll be a quarterfinal game in that championship.
Yes.
Let's go to the National Hockey League and talk about the Flames, and they're looking to play hockey games for the first time in decades for an organist. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Well, and we did mention that Willie Juicin passed away earlier this year. He'd been playing for them for the past 34 years. So they've put up an online posting for the job. And it's going to be for them and the Calgary Wranglers, their AHL affiliate, which they finally got to move from Stockton. So they're happy about that. But at the same time, it's a part-time job. But they're looking for somebody who has a working knowledge of hockey and hockey music. So,
yeah, there is a knowledge. It's well-founded. Flames forward Huberdeau pledges to donate brain for research on brain injuries.
So this is one of those things where Jonathan Huberdeau recently signed an extensive contract with them. He's joining a group that include Mark Garneau, Callie Armstrong, and Major General Dennis Thompson, who have also joined about 170 other Canadian Armed Forces members and veterans in what's called Project Enlist Canada, which is going to focus on helping research for traumatic brain injury, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, and PTSD. He says, as an NHL player, I'm very aware of the impact of traumatic brain injuries, concussions, and the link to other mental health issues. I'm proud to support the Canadian military veterans by pledging to donate my brain to Project Enlist Canada and support research.
Looking at news, the feds announced 4 new passport service sites.
So this is, to deal with the backlog, because as everybody knows, we've been having a lot of issues with that sort of thing. More than a quarter of the new 1.1 million applications filed since April haven't yet been processed. So this is something that they gravely need to address. They're opening up 4 additional Service Canada centers in Alberta, Ontario, Quebec, and PEI to address the overflow.
Public hearings in Emergencies Act inquiry to start in September.
So this is something that we've been waiting for a while now, based on the fact that the Emergencies Act was invoked February 14th concerning the Freedom Convoy. So they've formed what's called the Public Order Emergency Commission, and they are expecting hearings to run from September 19th until October 28th at the Library and Archives Canada in downtown Ottawa. Hearings will be live streamed online for those who want to get in on it. And members of the public will have opportunities to share their views, with a final report expected first quarter 2023.
Intelligence report flagged possible violent revenge after the Ottawa protest shutdown.
Yeah, so this is information that was derived from CSIS. They were looking at possible repercussions of shutting down the Freedom Convoy, but a lot of it did point, and a lot of the online chatter did actually point to the potential for actual violence. The good news is that didn't happen, but again, it's something to be aware of. It's a new threat for public safety agencies to consider when it comes to this sort of thing.
Did you get a chance to watch the Lisa Laflamme? I guess her comment finally. I mean, how tough is it to know you've been canned and you can't say anything for 2 months?
Yeah, that's the hardest part. I'm
awful?
Really disturbed to find that it did actually happen back in June. So
It's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, she obviously has a real strength of character, because there was no clue that obviously the ultimate pro. I mean, she did her job and she didn't flinch, or at least we don't think she did. And congratulations to her for putting up with something I think no one should have to put up with. That's just terrible. That's brutal.
No, I was very disheartened to hear that, and the fact that she had to carry it with her for 2 months.
Keep going out there for a while. Yikes!
Yep.
Terrible. Hudson's Bay to resurrect. Get this, Zellers.
So they're actually looking to relaunch the discount retailer to be digital first. They're hoping to tap into the nostalgia surrounding the brand. I personally am kind of looking forward to it, because Zellers always had more affordable prices. Not necessarily always the greatest selection, but at the same time, it was an option when you couldn't find other things out there. So they launched pop-up shops inside Hudson Bay department stores, more specifically one in Burlington and one in Anjou, Quebec, to sort of gauge reactions. Apparently, it looked to be going relatively well, so they're thinking of bringing it back, as well as not just brick and mortar, but online more specifically.
Once old is new again. More news in Canada. Feds announced I'm going backwards here. I don't know how I ended up going backwards. Public hearings. Let's see. Intelligence report flagged. We got that one too.
That?
Oh,
yep.
My goodness. I copied things twice. I can't say this, but F off you F wads. Peterborough mayor says to QAnon followers who tried to arrest police.
Yeah. So there's a lady who calls herself the Queen of Canada, and goes by the name of Queen of Canada, named Romana Didulo. She pulls up in her RV and directs her minions, and in this particular case here, they tried to make citizens arrest against Peterborough police. This is a part of what we mentioned briefly on the Monday. But 3 men are currently facing charges in connection to the incident because they tried to enter a private police area, specifically a parking lot, to surround police vehicles and prevent police from doing their jobs, as well as blocking the front entrance and performing citizens arrests on members of the police force. This wasn't limited to just standing in front of them, but also apparently they attempted to call the Canadian military in to arrest the police as well. The mayor had evidently had enough, and that was her public statement. I bet you when she was originally sworn in, they didn't think that she'd be quite that sweary.
There you go. Hundreds of GTA daycare operators have not opted into the $10 a day childcare as the deadline looms.
So this is, Ontario was one of the last provinces to sign on for this sort of thing. But the issue that we're finding here is a lot of daycare operators do have until September 1st to indicate whether they intend to opt into the program or not. However, as it currently stands, according to the City of Toronto, there are more than 1,000 childcare centers and licensed home childcare agencies that are eligible to apply, but only 570 have opted into the program and 32 have opted out. 99 of those who have opted in are commercial centers or for profit. 19 of the 32 who opted out are also for profit. So what we're seeing here is a childcare gap. A lot of other communities will be offering this affordable childcare to their communities. Toronto, not so much.
Well, times they are changing. Former Ontario Liberal leader Stephen Del Duca announced his run for Vaughan Mayor.
So I had forgotten that he'd actually stepped down, mainly because his run as the Liberal leader had been thoroughly uninspiring and unremarkable. It included a loss to Ford. But yeah, he's decided that he's going to run for mayor in Vaughan during the October municipal election. He says his campaign is going to focus on stemming traffic gridlock in the city that he's called home for the past 35 years. So yeah, he had a rough go of it. He resigned in 2020. He resigned in June 2022 after he was unable to hold his own riding of Vaughan Woodbridge, but he's apparently intent on becoming the new mayor.
I guess Stephen Del Duca was stung by the B. Swillen Premier of Ontario.
There's a big grin on my face. You can't necessarily see it, Frank.
Okay. Northwest Territory childcare providers trying to be optimistic about, again, we're talking about that $10 a day deal.
Yeah. Now, what happened was the Northwest Territories government have signed a $51 million 5-year childcare agreement back in December. The idea was to halve the fees, and that's HALVE, and create 70 new spaces by the end of 2022. They're planning on creating an additional 230 daycare spaces by 2026. However, they're feeling a bit of a pinch because the subsidy has failed to address staff shortages and the lack of available spots, which is basically what it was designed to help with. So they're having a bit of an issue with it, but they're still remaining optimistic. About the fact that they can actually get it done.
We got some time left, and whenever we've got time left, I always like to talk about the man in orange, or the orange man, or the guy that you can't believe a word that he says guy, whoever he is. What's his name? Oh, yeah. Anyway, I don't have to tell you his name. But anyway, on the bad news front, a woman who has proved to be a great leader, um, someone who has shown the strength to give up a seat, but pick up character. Liz Cheney, she lost the GOP primary in in Wyoming, a place that's the first time I think in 4 decades that a Cheney won't be, you know, in charge when it comes to Congress. You know, I don't know, Aaron, how you feel about her, but she has proven to be someone who has honestly put country ahead of party, and I don't understand how someone doesn't understand the importance of that.
Far too often when it comes to politics, we get too wrapped up in the me, as opposed to the we of it
Us,
all.
us, instead of we.
Exactly.
Same.
But yeah, it's a shame that she did actually lose. But
There's talk that
it's
she might run as a spoiler in the next election, run as a conservative, which she is, offer an opportunity for voters on the right side who don't want to vote for a Democrat, whoever that happens to be. They can vote her and, feel good enough about at least voting for a conservative and removing votes from the Republican Party that she says is multiple elections away from being straightened out. She clearly says there's something wrong with the Republican Party. I mean, everybody knows what's wrong with the Republican Party, but it's going to take a while for them to clean that up.
No, it is true. There are far too many issues that have cropped up now. The Trump Luddites have become far too ingrained in the American political scene, and it all really started with the rise of the Tea Party, shortly before the 2016 elections, and those sort of secessionist and America First and isolationist movements within the U.S. government. The problem is it's going to take a lot to unravel now. But she has been one of the most vocal opponents of the president recently. So, that is a good sign. If she were to run, Frank, would she have to run as an independent
Yeah, well, what she could do,
or as a write in?
hang on now, she'd run it as an independent, but she could also run, basically, go up against Trump in the primary, which she won't win. If Trump is the guy in the primary, she could enter in the Republican primary, I guess. Oh, maybe not, because they've expunged her from the party. What am I talking about? No, they've removed her from the party. She's sanctioned. She can't be or run. She'd have to do it as an independent. And as an independent, she would siphon off a lot of conservative votes off the Republican candidate, whomever that happens to be. So yeah, no, she can't run as a Republican. She would have to run as an independent, as best I know.
Interesting. And of course, this also ties in with what happened in Alaska as well.
Right.
With Murkowski and Shabaka facing off in the Alaska primary. So that is going to be interesting as well.
Well, 10 Congress people voted to dump Trump, if you will, right? And 4 of them lost, 4 of them retired, 2 are going through. Cheney's one of the 4 that lost their primaries. And now we're at a situation now where word is, Aaron, that for some reason Trump's having a hard time finding lawyers. I don't understand. Like, the fact that he has a reputation for not paying, the fact that he has a reputation for putting lawyers in deep trouble, because one case right now is that's going to happen is his lawyer told the FBI that, oh, there's no boxes in Mar-a-Lago. We got nothing there. There's no more documents. They're all gone. You got them all. Then they find some. So either the lawyer's in trouble or Trump's in trouble, or they both are. I don't know. Is it hard to believe that he's having a hard time finding lawyers? And the lawyers that he has, I saw a list of the lawyers. He's got like 8 lawyers that he has. A couple of them are from Anon, which is basically a crazy news service, which is just unreal. It's basically a QAnon service. Then he's got a guy that is a parking garage lawyer. He's his job is that he's representing a parking garage. That's what he's doing. No federal experience, and these people don't have any federal experience. And anybody who sees Trump coming and they're a lawyer, you hide you hide your license as fast as you can. And
Honestly, at this point, the only thing that can really be said is Trump's worst enemy is himself.
yeah, no, that goes without saying. But the funny thing is, and it really is, it's mind boggling. Um, to see the behavior of this guy and the people. I've convinced myself, and I've really convinced myself of something, and that is the people who support him are so caught up in the anger that he generates that makes them feel okay, that the way he approves, he causes people to approve of their own behavior and being hateful and be totally unhinged. Example, when Trump does something and somebody says, you know what, Trump shouldn't have kept those documents. He should have left them in the White House. People say, well, what about Clinton? What about Obama? And like almost to suggest like they've done it too, and they say it as if it's real. To think that nobody would say anything if the whole reason why the archives are going after these documents is because every president before him let them have this stuff. That's why they're so frustrated. And I just find it I do truly find it disgusting that this kind of dishonesty and this kind of, you know, he knows what he's doing. His people and the Republicans know what they're doing when they're lambasting the FBI and calling the FBI Gestapo, and they are definitely putting, a target on them.
The other thing is, this is part of like a well-known playbook that he's used before.
Absolutely.
This is not unfamiliar to people in the media. This is not unfamiliar to those of us who don't suffer from massive cognitive dissonance. There's even this is one of those things that that they're wrong, but you can't tell them that they're wrong because they refuse to believe it.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, there's a lady by the name of Nikki Haley who tweeted that already this financial year, 66 terrorists were caught at the southern border. Biden is not protecting America. If he won't take it seriously, it's up to the GOP and Congress to keep Americans safe.
Yeah.
But they caught the terrorists at the border. That means they didn't get into America.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Well, listen, Aaron, we got to go. I just realized, just looked at the time, and I didn't put on my my little. Let me see here. Let's see if Daniel. Oh, it says 4 minutes. Oh, okay. We've gone over. We got to go. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Frank.